Classifying angles. Angles can be classified according to the measure of the angle. Here are some classifications. Number 1 is a complementary angle. Two angles are complementary if their measures add up to 90 degrees, which of course is a right angle. Here as an example. In this example, 40 degrees and 50 degrees are complementary because they equal 90 degrees. Question: are 34 degrees and 56 degrees complementary angles? If you answered yes, you would be correct. The answer would be yes, since 34 degrees and 56 degrees equals 90 degrees. Number 2, supplementary angles. The sum of two angles whose measure is 180 degrees are called supplementary angles. In this diagram, 60 degrees plus 120 degrees equals 180 degrees. Therefore, 60 degrees and 120 degrees are supplementary angles. Question: are 40 degrees and 140 degrees supplementary angles? If you answered yes, you would again be correct, since 40 degrees and 140 degrees is 180 degrees. Number 3, angles around a point. Angles around a point add up to 360 degrees. Here is an example. You will notice it's a complete circle, which would be 360 degrees. What is the measure of C in this diagram? For your solution, find the sum of the given angles. We know that we're given 110 degrees plus 63 degrees plus 50 degrees plus 75 degrees. That will sum to 298 degrees. But we know that the measure of a circle is 360 degrees. So to find the measure of C, we're going to subtract from 360 degrees the measure 298 degrees. This will give us the measure of C, which is 62 degrees. Now, number 4, congruent angles. Two angles are said to be congruent if they have the same measure in degrees. Pairs of angles. Parallel angles. Lines are in parallel if the distance between them is the same. Same distance apart, the lines will never meet. The symbol, as shown here, which is like the greater than sign, is used to indicate parallel lines. And now, here's what parallel lines would look like. And now, we need to look at what a transversal is. A transversal is the name for the line that is drawn across two parallel lines. The blue are our two parallel lines. The transversal is shown in green. When a transversal crosses two parallel lines, several angles are formed. These angles can be classified by how they are grouped. Here's the measures of the angles, and here are the letters that represent the different angles. Let's take a look at what they can be divided into or classified as. Corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are the angles in matching corners on the same side of the transversal. So if we looked in our diagram, A and E would each measure 130 degrees. They're corresponding. B and F, C and G, D and H. B, consecutive interior angles. The pair of angles that are on one side of the transversal and inside the two lines are called consecutive interior angles. In our diagram, C and E are consecutive, D and F are consecutive. Notice that the sum of these two interior angles is equal to 180 degrees. C, alternate interior angles. The pairs of angles that are on opposite sides of the transversal and yet inside the two lines are called alternate interior angles. C and F, which both measure 50 degrees, D and E, which both measure 130 degrees. These are alternate interior angles, and they are, of course, equal. D, alternate exterior angles. These are the pairs of angles on opposite sides of the transversal, but outside the two lines. Illustrated in this diagram, we have B and G, and also A and H. Notice that the measure of the two alternate exterior angles are equal. E, vertically opposite angles. Angles that share the same corner point and are across from each other, as shown in the diagram. B and C are vertically opposite, and A and D are vertically opposite. On to the next video.